certain terms that I am doing all of this for your sake. By sacrificing my freedom, and possibly my life, I hope to change your mind about me. This letter is being written an hour before I leave for the Hilton Hotel. Jody, I'm asking you to please look into your heart and at least give me the chance, with this historical deed, to gain your respect and love. Yesterday it emerged that Hinckley had written a lot of letters to the 19-year-old actress who starred in the movie Taxi Driver. Miss Foster, a freshman at Yale University, gave a press conference to discuss them.
I'm not allowed to reveal any content because I don't want to jeopardize the prosecution.
Without getting specific, was he threatening, amorous? What was he like?
I'm not allowed to say. I believe that it's, that the letters were assumed within, love type of.
When did you first realize the connection between the Hinckley and the letters and the Hinckley who shot the president?
Well, how many Hinckleys do you know?
Did you contact the authorities at that point?
No, I was contacted by him. I felt very shocked, very frightened, and very distressed.
Did you have any knowledge then that those letters were forwarded to the FBI? When was the first time you knew the FBI was involved in an investigation of the Hinckley letters?
The first time I knew that the FBI was involved was when somebody called me up and said, please come over and talk to the FBI. That was also at the same moment, I think maybe 10 minutes later, when I heard about the whole Reagan deal. I didn't know anything about it until that point.
So you cannot corroborate reports that are coming from Washington today that the FBI knew about the Hinckley letters as far back as November?
No, I have no knowledge at all.
This has been such an incredible year, and I'd like to dedicate this award to all of the women who came before me who never had the chances that I've had, and the survivors and the pioneers and the outcasts, and my blood, my tradition. And I'd like to thank all of the people in this industry who have respected my choices and who have not been afraid of the power and the dignity that entitled me to. And I'd like to thank Ted Talley and Thomas Harris, Jesse Kornbluth, everybody at Orion the way it used to be and the way it will always be in my heart. John Douglas and everybody at Quantico, the incredible cast and crew of Silence of the Lambs that Jonathan put together, and of course, the reason that I'm here, Anthony Hopkins, quid pro quo doctor, and my guru, Jonathan Demme, not just for his talent, but for his goodness, I promise you. And I'd like to thank my team of people, the only people I talk to every single day. My agent and friend, Joe Funicello, thank you. And Matt Saber, Pat Kingsley. I'd like to thank my family and my family of friends, the trusted ones, the circle. And most of all, I'd like to thank my mother, Brandy, my friend, the person who has loved me so much and so well that she taught me in inimitable little man Tate fashion to fly away. Thank you. And thank the Academy for embracing such an incredibly strong and beautiful feminist hero that I'm so proud of. Thank you very much. Mike and Carol, you won the bet! Right on!
Nearly 35 years after he tried to assassinate President Ronald Reagan, John Hinckley is spending an increasing amount of time at his mother's home in southeastern Virginia and less time at St. Elizabeth's Mental Hospital in Washington, where he's been confined for decades.
John's a very sweet and considerate person.
The majority of people don't want him back here. They just don't want to take the chance.
A federal judge oversees the release program for Hinckley, who jurors found not guilty by reason of insanity, saying he needed treatment, not a lifetime in confinement. Hearings set for this week could allow him to spend even more time with his mother, who lives in a resort development near Colonial Williamsburg. Someday, he could live there permanently.
This is worrisome.
I don't think they should fear him because I don't think, that he's a danger to anyone.
Come on, here.
Sandra Kochersberger worked with Hinckley in the library at Norfolk's Eastern State Hospital, where Hinckley was required to volunteer as a condition of his release.
I had no fear. He never did anything out of the way, anything abnormal. He was just always a kind, sweet, gentle soul. He gave me this one.
He plays the guitar and paints. Hinckley is on medication to prevent psychosis and combat anxiety. When in Williamsburg, he's required to meet regularly with a psychiatrist and a therapist. He has a driver's license with limited privileges to drive unaccompanied, but he must carry a GPS-enabled cell phone during all unsupervised activities.
There hasn't been any issues.
Michael Hipple is the chairman of the local board of supervisors.
I've got to trust that the doctors who are reviewing his progress and are looking it over make a sound decision.
I sort of sell the area
John Wommeldorf is a local real estate agent.
one, maybe two times in 11 years. Somebody said, well, then maybe we don't want to take a look at that neighborhood. But all the other times, and I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of people that I've taken through there, it's been a non-issue.
But Hinckley's future in Williamsburg has been an issue for Joe and Carol Mann.
Things in his mind that drove him to do what he did. Nobody can convince me those things are no longer there.
Doctors have testified that his psychosis and major depression have long been in remission, and his attorney argues he's no longer a threat. But prosecutors disagree, saying he has a history of deceptive behavior. Ned Barker, The Associated Press.
I guess I just have a sudden urge to say something that I've never really been able to air in public. So, declaration that I'm a little nervous about, but maybe not quite as nervous as my publicist right now, huh, Jennifer? You know, I'm just going to put it out there, right? Loud and proud, right? So, I'm going to need your support on this. I am single. Yes, I am. I am single. No, I'm kidding. But I mean, I'm not really kidding, but I'm kind of kidding. I mean, thank you for the enthusiasm. Can I get a wolf whistle or something? Please. Jesus. Seriously. I know that you're not disappointed that there won't be a big coming out speech tonight, because I already did my coming out about 1,000 years ago, back in the Stone Age, in those very quaint days when a fragile young girl would open up to trusted friends and family and co-workers, and then gradually, proudly to everyone who knew her, to everyone she actually met. But now, apparently, I'm told that every celebrity is expected to honor the details of their private life with a press conference, a fragrance, and a primetime reality show. If you had been a public figure from the time that you were a toddler, if you'd had to fight for a life that felt real and honest and normal against all odds, then maybe then you too might value privacy above all else. Privacy. Someday, in the future, people will look back and remember how beautiful it once was. I have given everything up there from the time that I was 3 years old. That's a reality show now, don't you think? There is no way I could ever stand here without acknowledging one of the deepest loves of my life, my heroic co-parent, my ex-partner in love, but righteous soul sister in life, my confessor, ski buddy, consigliere, most beloved, BFF, 20 years, Sidney Bernard. Thank you, Sid. I am so proud of our modern family, our amazing sons, Charlie and Kit, who are my reason to breathe and to evolve, my blood and soul. And boys, in case you didn't know it, this song, like all of this song is on you. And I can't help but get moody, you know, this feels like the end of one era and the beginning of something else. Scary and exciting. And now what? Well, I may never be up on the stage again. On any stage, for that matter. Change. You gotta love it. I will continue to tell stories. To move people by being moved. Greatest job in the world. It's just that from now on, I may be holding a different talking stick. And maybe it won't be as sparkly. Maybe it won't open on 3,000 screens. Maybe it will be so quiet and delicate, and the dogs can hear it whistle. But it will be my writing on the wall. Jodie Foster was here. I still am. And I want to be seen, to be understood deeply, and to be not so very lonely. Thank you, all of you, for the company. Here's to the next 50 years.
You know my name. Oh, no, wait. Maybe you forgot. Michael Martin. I live in New Orleans. I have since 2002. Before that, I lived in Chicago for almost 10 years, and I was born and raised in Minneapolis and stayed there until I was 34. How are you? I am so excited to meet you! Oh my God. It's been so long. Thank you for agreeing to this. Are you hungry? No? I'm starved. Wait, what's this? Oh my. I didn't think that you could do things. Oh, wait, no, you can do things like this. You just don't get to have social media. That's right. Sorry. I really should take a moment and collect my thoughts. I made... Yes, I should take a moment and collect my thoughts. I'm being disrespectful. My name is Michael Martin, and I don't know if fan is the right word, but it's the best we've got. I'm a huge fan. When I still lived in Chicago, I tried to explain some of this to you. I think it didn't make complete sense. I'm going to try again. When I still lived in Chicago, I did a lot of stage work, solo, talking just endlessly. I think it seemed to a lot of people like forever, talking about various aspects of pop culture, and I was good at it. I was good at it because I take pop culture very personally. And my best piece, and this isn't even like a matter of debate, I really could have just done this piece and checked out for the next 15 years. My best piece, I pretended to be you. Yeah, no, don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like that. I know. I mean, you're 6'2", for God's sakes. I mean, we are roughly the same age. You're a little bit older than I am. You're holding up better than I am. I want to tell you that right now, except maybe just I'm sorry. 35 years of hospital food, yeah. I mean, what's going to happen? That's going to happen. You look great. You do. And if you didn't look great, I would be the last one to say so. I really do have more of this. All right. So, I did this piece where I pretended to be you, talking to a panel, an invisible panel of psychiatrists who supposedly were sitting in judgment of your ability to function in the real world, which I'm sure is not how it actually happens back there at St. Elizabeth. I really don't think that you probably have to walk into an auditorium full of psychiatrists and argue for your sanity, but it was a way to get the audience involved, you know, fourth wall, whatever that is, what that means. And it was a way, more importantly, to use your career. Can we call it a career? It was a way to use your career, and more importantly, the career of she who must not be named. It was a way to use your career and her career and even a little bit of Reagan's career and people that she had worked with and people that he was related to explore the interconnections between mass culture and what we used to call real life. And it was swell. And I did you proud. You have never been more astute in your entire life. Oh my God. Oh my God, you were great. So, that stayed, in my head. And I've continued to follow your story, and I've continued to follow her story insofar as either of you have any stories to follow, and I want to get back to that in just a moment. It's really fucking annoying how little new information there is about either of you. And when you were released, and congratulations, by the way, it's about goddamn time. This country has such a fucked up attitude about insanity. And you would think that as a people, individuals accept, these are cold. Jesus Christ. All right, well, I'm never going back there again. You would think that as a culture, we would have a little bit more, I don't even want to say sympathy. There's plenty of sympathy. Sympathy is cheap. You'd think we'd have a little bit more respect for not guilty by reason of insanity because, apparently every third person is on drugs. It's not like an uncommon state at this point for people to be, getting a little chemical help to get through the day. Do you think that I need to do that? I maybe should consider that. Anyway, you were no longer a danger to self or others. And you haven't been for a long time. And they had to let you go. Because that's how not guilty by reason of insanity works. Holy shit. You wouldn't think it would be so complicated. You know why I think it was that complicated? Well, first, they had to wait for the widow to die. I know that wasn't an official reason why you were kept cooling your heels until, what was last year, 2016? Yeah, big year, huh? Yeah, 2016 was a big year. I know you weren't kept cooling your heels until 2016 officially because Mrs. Reagan was still hanging on. But unofficially, in that cultural, pop culture, real life interaction way, I know they were waiting for her to croak as a matter of courtesy. And I think they did the right thing, honestly, although I think you've probably been capable of living out here since, I don't know, at least 2009. I mean, you haven't attempted suicide since what? 2003? 2005? 2003, I think. Good on you! Good on you! You haven't attempted suicide since you were like 44 years old. That is a big fucking accomplishment. But you know what they say about insanity, or you know what I say about insanity. I say, but once you're insane, it's like riding a bicycle. You never forget it. So, I believe. Are you mad at me? You look a little mad at me. There's a certain unfairness to this, I realize. Because you can't talk. That, I made some notes before I came here to meet you, and I really should have stuck to them because now I am all over the fucking place. But that is the thing. I'm going to come in just a little bit closer. That is the thing that I think. No, I can't get off on this until I finish my previous thought, right? One thought follows another. I've heard that over and over again. They had to wait till she had passed until you could be released because you have not been a danger to yourself or others for a long, long time. Because you're in remission. Such a great word. And what was interesting to me, lots of things were interesting to me. But the part that was most interesting to me, again, on that symbolic, real life, pop culture interaction level, nobody fucking cared. Patty complained, but Patty complains about everything. She complained that her mother didn't love her enough. She complained that her mother was gone. She complained that her dad was too distant. She complained that her dad was too glorious. Oh, my God. Oh. Anyway, Patty complained. The Justice Department complained. The Justice Department still really doesn't like you. You really, yeah, Reagan, maybe yes, maybe no, but you don't get to take out a couple of Secret Service agents and ever really win the Justice Department over again. But other than that, and most especially amongst the hundreds, thousands, millions, I don't know who counts, Reaganites, Reagan supporters, Morning in America, Reaganomics, everything Reagan for the last 35 years, people who have devoted their entire lodestone, guiding light, whatever you call it, to revivifying and resurrecting and celebrating all things Reagan, didn't care. Didn't care. I'm beginning to think they were just kidding. Because at the same time they weren't caring that you were released, their new holy figure, oh God, Donald Trump, was announcing how much he adores all things Russian. Up to and including killing one's opponents. Well, we kill a lot of people too. And that was like the third principle of Reaganism. Trickle-down economics. Screw the welfare queens. Russia is the evil empire. That shit's all gone. The day that you got released and Trump was out there saying, hey, I would like to reset relations with Russia if you don't mind. They know how to get things done. That was the day that I realized that Reagan was dead. Not just dead, but dead. Dead as a cultural force, dead. And you did that. Took you a little time. First you had to shoot him, then you had to wait 35 years, then you had to get released. But you did, in the long term, do that. I can't prove any of this. None of it. It's all in my head. That's the other thing that was so great about that original thing where I pretended like I was you, was I researched that motherfucker for 2 fucking years. It was practically a piece of theatrical journalism. I found stuff about you and about her and about him and the interconnections between the three of you that I know nobody else found. 'Cause I did my homework. I don't do my homework anymore. We live in a post-facts time. And I just say whatever comes to my mind. It's fucking great. Except when I lose my place. It's fucking great. My very favorite thing, you know, what time is it? Oh, God, it's still early. How long did you say I could stay? Oh, sorry. Okay, well, we're not close to that anyway. What was I saying? What were you saying? You weren't saying anything! That's what I started to say a few minutes ago before I decided to finish the other thought that I hadn't finished and possibly still haven't, but it feels like it's done. I was saying that you can't talk, and that is so fucking unfair. That little motherfucker, I'm not even going to say his name, is not a joke. That little motherfucker who shot up 7 or 8 praying black people in their fucking kitchen in the basement of their church got to talk. The Oklahoma bomber got to talk. The fucking Boston Marathon bombers got to talk. And they were all boring as shit. And you, who I would like to hear from more than anybody in the world, is under a gag order. Apparently until death. I really shouldn't yell like that in people's houses. I'm very sorry. But I'm upset for you. Because I know that's the damnedest thing. I know that. Excuse me. Can I smoke in here? Oh, probably not. Can't smoke anywhere. Fucking ridiculous. That's another thing, just briefly. It's not about you. It's not about her. It's not about him. That's another thing, just briefly, that I'll touch on about everybody self-medicating to get it through the day and the week and the month and the year and the life. 35 fucking years of steady anti-smoking campaigns means that any motherfuckers who are still smoking need to do it to hold themselves together. And y'all should just back off. All right? You are down to the folks who need it to get through the day. Anyway, I'll wait. I know I really did lose my place. You can't talk. And I bet you know so much. You've been in a psychiatric hospital for 35 years? They've been letting you access media for at least 28 of them? Whenever you did get out to visit your mom, how's mom? Come on, how's mom? You can tell, yeah, okay. Sweet lady. 90 this year, right? It was fucking nice of her to give the last third of her life to your safety and security. If it weren't for her dedication to your safety and happiness, you'd never be out. In fact, that was one of the more interesting details of your release, was that for at least the first year, maybe 2, it's still kind of a little bit provisional, depending on whether or not your mom hangs on. Well, she is 90. But other than that, I mean, she seems to be in good shape. Gets around the neighborhood, doesn't really know anyone, they don't really know her. Apparently doesn't talk to the neighbors. Someone for you to crash with. It's just like being in school, right? Crashing with the folks. Moms are great, aren't they? Yeah. Anyway, I know that when you did get out on your little 7 and 14 and 17-day excursions, you would sometimes cheat and go to the movies and do things that you didn't have strict permission to do. And I know, this is my favorite. This is my fucking favorite from when I actually took the time to learn something about the shit that I was going to think about and talk about. I know that on the night that she won that Oscar for Silence of the Lambs, they let you watch the show. They let you watch the Oscar broadcast that night. And what I further know by cross-referencing page 4 of my notes with page 32 was that the night of the Oscar broadcast where she won for Silence of the Lambs, the celebration of the FBI as all things professional and skillful and true, was 11 years to the day on the anniversary of your shooting the president to impress her. 11 years to the day. And nobody noticed. Not your doctors. But you knew, didn't you? You knew it was anniversary night. And I bet she knew. And, of course, I know. Because that's how much of a fan I am. I wish you could talk. 35 years as a media monk. Watching TV, going to the movies, surfing the internet without establishing any social media presence whatsoever. Uninterrupted study of what, I have to take breaks to go to work. And you've just been doing it on the public dime for 35 years. You know what happened. I know you know what happened. You are the only one in a position to know what happened. You are the only one who has had the time and the uninterrupted contemplation to understand how we got from you to where we are now, and you can't talk. God damn it! And I really don't know. I mean, if I thought I knew, I would pretend to be you again and just say so. But I really don't. I do know that in the months and weeks, this was something I found in my research about you and her, and then I like using old material. I think it doesn't go to waste. Oh, good. There's something from 15 years ago. I do know that in the months leading up to your assassination effort, and what the fuck was that thing where you considered assassinating Jimmy Carter? Holy shit, would that... I'm glad you didn't get your shit together in time to try that, okay? Anyway. People forget this now. I'm having a tough time with this one. People forget this now because Reagan has retroactively been made such an saintly, beneficent, golden figure. But in the early going of his administration, people were scared of him. I mean, granted, they were mostly liberals, and liberals are scared of pretty much everything, but still, they were scared of him. Not like they're scared of this mofo right now, but they were scared. They were scared that he was going to destroy everything that they held dear, that he was a TV star as the president. He seemed like he was ignorant as fuck. The media. There must be other people like you. There must be people who do this kind of thing for a living. But again, this was also 1980, 1981, and the media was a somewhat smaller thing. The media was saturated with images of death and destruction and apocalypse and Armageddon and whatever, I don't know, darkness and damnation and ruin. It was extremely, you laid out the news magazines, you looked at the newspaper headlines, you saw it was on TV, it was bleak, 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 bleak. And the media was spitting back how the public's mood at itself. Yeah, this is one of those things that I really just couldn't fit into the original piece because there was no way it would have been coming out of your mouth, so I just had to lose it. but it, you know, the people who spend their time studying things like that, they seem to know what they're talking about. They don't seem like they're fantasists. It's a rough time there. I really want to smoke. And you released all that. And much of this I did include in the piece, but still, it bears repeating. You shot him for the love of a child movie star. That's so brilliant. You shot him, and he survived. Honey, I forgot to duck. He misquoted some old movie. He never quoted anything correctly. Even with a bullet in him, he was getting his quotations wrong. It's kind of impressive. And he survived. And the country breathed a sigh of relief because you released all that. You released all that poison. They saw that he was tough enough to take their fear. They saw that he was tough enough to take their hatred. And at a point where he really was kind of a, I don't know if I like this guy or not kind of figure, his popularity shot through the roof. Thanks to you. You made Reaganomics possible. It didn't have a chance in hell before you failed to kill him. That's really what I want to know. Well, not really what I want to know, but were you sorry? Were you sorry you failed? I mean, just in the early going, not now. I'm sure you completely, totally regret it right now. But just, you know, like when they were shoving you into the squad car and hauling you off to jail, did you were thinking to yourself, oh, God damn it, I fucked this up again? You know, this place is not that much nicer than St. Elizabeth's. It's not that big a deal to be here instead of there. Oh, yes, you do get to go to Target. Oh, those photos look so bad. You better hope that they stop stalking you real soon. I think they have. I think it was like a first week special. Oh, he's out! Shopping at Target! I don't like those shirts you were looking at all. I am not hitting on you. It's the first thing everybody thinks. Look, I like the dead-eyed thing. I like it a lot. I know it doesn't do it for a lot of people, but you have still got that, 2 lumps of charcoal stuck in the middle of your face, look in your eyes. And I think it's sexy. But I'm not hitting on you. I'm married. Yeah, well, I'm not hitting on you because we're the same age. I don't know. It would be inappropriate. Let's just put it that way. All right, I don't want to be inappropriate. You're being a guest. I'm a guest in your house, giving me the gift of your time and lack of insight. I just wanted to meet you. I just wanted to sit with... Do you think I can eat this? I mean, I think I can, but... Anyway. First, you made Reaganomics possible. And then, in another one of those things that I cannot prove, but by God, I don't have to. You accelerated his dementia. And this, I know from actual personal experience. This I don't know from just like reading about you. Because my beloved, my spouse, my wife, God damn it, I'm going to say wife. My wife, Eric, had 2 major surgeries within a year. And the thing that they don't remember to tell you, because I've checked with other people and they didn't get told either, the thing they don't tell you is that when you open up a person's body like that in like a major way and move things around and sew them up and patch them up and then close it back up again, It takes your brain a while to come back. It takes your brain a while to recover. Eric went through a couple 2 years there where we just both got kind of accustomed to him not remembering a whole bunch of details until he kind of got his brain back together. The same way I am now, he was then. And then later on we found out, oh yeah, that's normal. That's normal. The brain gets traumatized by major surgery too. It takes a while to get back together. Well, you know what? Reagan's brain was already on the way out the door when he was elected, and when you shot him and failed to kill him. So, again, I'm not saying it wouldn't have happened anyway. I'm not blaming you for the man's Alzheimer's. I'm just saying you gave it a little push. They've already established that, Alzheimer's people, dementia people. I have never figured out the difference between Alzheimer's and dementia. And the way things are going, I better find out pretty fucking soon. But they say that if you make it a habit in your lifetime to use forgetfulness or rest on forgetfulness as a technique or an excuse, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. And Reagan had been doing that since the 50s. He forgot things during HUAC like you wouldn't believe. He forgot things he said. He forgot things he did. It was a go-to for him. It was like, oh, yeah, really? Did I say that? So by the time you got in touch with him, he'd already laid the groundwork. Manifest signs of active dementia by 85. People actually talking about it guardedly in the press by 87. You helped. You contributed. You really had a pretty big effect for somebody who completely failed at what it was he attempted to do and then was disappeared out of the culture entirely. That's part of the reason I was drawn to you. I mean, I do a lot of things about real people and real culture. And it's important to me, God knows why, because nobody cares. Nobody fucking cares how I pass my time. But it is important to me that I not betray the facts of their lives. I cannot stand fictionalizing real people. If you are going to use the real person for his or her commercial value, you better fucking be true to the facts of their life. Otherwise, you can change the goddamn names and go without the commercial value. But that's really hard to do. So what I tend to do is pick people who have left no record. And I can say whatever I want without fear of doing them wrong because nobody has a clue. And you were great for that. You were such a great vessel for so much stuff. You still are. Oh, hang on a second. Oh, no, that can wait. I really might still come back to you. I mean, with your permission. Because that's the third and last thing that you really accomplished. 1 was making Reaganomics possible. 2 was making him decay faster than he otherwise might have decayed. And 3... was you put your fist through the wall of church and state, separating what was serious from what was not. You put your fist through the wall that separated trivia from substance. When you shot a former movie star for the love of a child movie star in order to impress her and failed to do so, the entertainment pages read like political pages. The political pages read like entertainment pages. Nobody could tell what was what until everything settled out and they shuffled you off to St. Elizabeth and locked you down. And nothing is ever just one thing, but where we are today started with you. And you know how it happened because you've had time to study it. Could you write up some notes, throw them in an iron box, and bury them not to be found until 20 years after your death? Would that be breaking the rules? Your letters weren't bad. I bet you can still write. I bet you do still write and just don't show it to anybody. All right. Fine. I don't have that much more time to work with, but I'll do what I can. I want to tell you, I think you're being a little selfish. You never would have gotten the whole St. Elizabeth's not guilty by reason of insanity gig if your family wasn't wealthy and connected with the Bushes, which is just weird. It's just weird how it connected your family. I'm not suggesting a damn thing. It's just one of those weird. Rich people all move in the same room. They all breathe the same air. They all know the same people. They go to the same restaurants. They visit the same clubs. They have Thanksgiving together. Yeah, it just was weird. That might be why people got mad at you too. Back then, not anymore, but was that sense of privilege, getting away with something. We all know at this point how motherfucking upset the underclass gets when they think that the upper classes are getting away with something. Jesus Christ, they'll overthrow a government if they think that people are getting away with something. All right, already. Yeah, we screwed you over a little bit. It's no reason to throw the entire nation into chaos and ruin, is it? Fuck. That's what people don't understand. In the time since I pretended, you're going to have to excuse me, this is a little gross, but I can't help it. In the time that has passed since I pretended to be you and hit my high water mark as a performer and a writer, and I've just been treading water ever since. I'm sorry, I don't mean to throw things at your toy. I've made myself kind of a little bit of a, there, good. Now I can enunciate. I've made myself a little bit of a Facebook celebrity. I know, but I have. I know you don't, I don't, it's not worth discussing. I've done it. I knew I was doing it. It wasn't an accident. It's taken a little bit of getting used to, but I've learned to get used to it, and I'm kind of enjoying it, and it takes up too much of my life, exactly as you would expect. It just is a time suck. But it means that people want to meet me, which is the stupidest ass thing. I am a janitor in a bar in New Orleans with too much time on his hands, and people want to meet me. And one of them was in town a few weeks ago. Actually, there was a bit of a real-world connection there. I look after her mother. I don't look after her mother. I look in on her mother. And by looking in on her mother, I mean I call the woman once or twice a week and listen to her babble about how awful her life is. And then I make appreciative, sympathetic noises, and then I hang up, clear my mind for 2 days, and call her back and hear the same thing. And this is what you do. You know, this is your contribution to society, is to listen to old, lonely women talk about how miserable their lives are as many times per week as you can take it. Anyway, her daughter was coming to town. She lives in Los Angeles. She's a musician. She's apparently pretty successful. I mean, she's not like a name you would know, but she makes her living off it, which is more than I do. And she was visiting Mom, and she wanted to meet me, and she had to meet me at the bar because I had no time. And I let the conversation get on to politics, which I never do. I will talk about politics and social media because it's just a who can top one another game, but talking about in reality, you're going to lose friendships. I'd rather talk about the sex I don't have than talk about politics. And so somehow I let the conversation talk about politics because she is horrified, everybody's horrified. And she got into her theory about, I knew we were in trouble as soon as she started. She was all madras and flowing and beads, and she looked like a high-end hippie. She got into her theory about why the lower classes voted against their own interests when it was so obvious, that Trump, that word sounds like what it means, that Trump was going to fuck them. And even if you are a low information voter, I mean, you would have to be a subterranean information voter not to know that man was going to fuck you. And she was getting into this theory, and the fourth word out of her mouth was simpletons. And I couldn't stand it, and I said, no. They did not vote for him not knowing that he was going to fuck over them because they haven't expected anything from the bosses for 40 years. And their women haven't expected their men to be anything but pigs for 40 years. They did not vote for him because they are simpletons. And she said, why did they vote for them? And I looked at her like I am looking at you, and I said, because they hate you. And then I backed off just a little bit. Just a little bit. But that's it. The surveys weren't that bad. The surveys weren't asked, enough samples of enough people in enough places, enough questions. Granted, they were bad in the sense that they completely excused the media from actually covering the issues, and shit, global warming is just coming up now after a year and a fucking half of media silence on the subject, but they asked the wrong questions. Instead of asking, all right, what's most important to you in your choice of a president? Job security, economic growth, good schools, terrorism, homeland security, integrity of the president, good character, emails, whatever. They should have been asking, what's most important to you in your choice of a president? Sticking it to the man? Getting even with the motherfuckers? Watching the world burn? They didn't ask those questions. And Ms. Madras said, doesn't that make it worse? Isn't it like a battle between good and evil? I didn't slap her. And I said, yes, it is probably worse. But it gives them the respect of knowing what the fuck they were doing and not considering them simpletons who stumbled into a bad decision because they're so goddamn ignorant. They knew exactly what they were doing. I knew exactly what they were doing. Because I am just as full of resentment as any one of them little motherfuckers. You should see me clean a toilet. I'm really good. And fast. You miss Jody? Yeah. I do. I miss her a lot, actually. Not as much as I miss you, but. I never thought she'd turn out to be a paycheck actress, you know? All the ways her career might have ended in spectacular flames, honestly, is probably how it looked like it was going to end. That Brave One movie? Oh, holy God. But, you know, she clocked in a couple of things that were kind of for the money. Panic Room, Flight Plan, one or two others. Oh, that one where she kept getting referred to as Miss White, that Spike Lee movie? Holy God, she was bad in that. I've never seen her be bad before. Did a couple of paycheck movies. Went to the Golden Globes, collected her Lifetime I Used to Mean Something to People award, and clocked out. I really didn't see that coming. I really didn't see that coming. When that speech was first broadcast, I was so annoyed. I said on my little Facebook fan page, Follow the Adventures of the Erudite Janitor, Jodie Foster is the most self-important person in the multiverse. Got a lot of likes. But she is. It's part of her charm. She is so fucking self-serious. She got out there in, what was that, 2014, 2015? And acted as if she were still a woman of mystery and fascination. And everybody was dying to know who she slept with and how often. Honey, that ship had sailed. Everybody had moved on. Nobody cared anymore. And then you compound your coming out by not really coming out, but by, you know, playing it as a big riddle of the Sphinx sort of game. It was embarrassing. The only thing that redeemed it was that it was apparently a farewell speech. I think she's done. One or two voiceovers. Trivial role in a kid's movie. You look at her IMDb. Oh, you have, haven't you? There's nothing there. You and me both. That's gotta hurt. That has gotta hurt. You shot a guy because you loved her so much. And lesbian, not lesbian, she turned out to be boring. She turned out to be ordinary. You threw your way at life away on a fucking ordinary chick, man. It's arguable that I did too. But less directly. Well, love's like that. You can't really tell. And it's really hard to stay interesting all the way to the final curtain, God knows. It's probably on balance better that she checked out than that she turned into some kind of joke version of herself, which, given the content of that Golden Globe speech, was entirely likely. It's not a bad idea to go at all. I know a woman who went to school with her. I'm sorry. I am so losing the point. I am so losing the point. I must be tired. Let me just tell you this and then... Wait a minute. Sorry. Oh, yeah. Look. It's 10 minutes max, maybe less. I'm out of your hair. You watch whatever you want to watch. Eric is loving the young Pope. If you have not caught up on the young Pope, See if you can stream it tonight. He is crazy about it. I'm waiting for Bates Motel myself, but, well, you can imagine why. Anyway, I know another one of my old ladies. I got like 3 or 4 of these old ladies. It's what I do instead of having relationships. I look after old ladies. Another one of my old ladies, she's actually hospitalized. She's actually not well. The other old lady is, as I said, fairly well-to-do, but this old lady is kind of in need and hospitalized, and who cares? She knew Jody. You don't even fucking care. I know someone who knew Jody. You just really don't care anymore, do you? Then never mind. Never mind. I look after an old woman whose life didn't go quite the same as yours did or mine did, and now she lives in a slum in New Orleans and has a crazy old white fuck to look after her while she's in the hospital. She knew Jodie Foster while she was in Yale. It's the weirdest damn thing. Except I'm not even really surprised about it anymore, because whenever I come near one of these things, whenever I come near one of these projects where I have to go in a little bit more than like learning my lines, or in this not learning my lines, depending on how things are going on a given project, but when I have to go spelunking, shit like that always pops up. Shit like that always pops up. I'm not, oh, I say to her in her hospital bed, oh, what was she like? I don't say, you're fucking kidding me. I don't say, you're making this up, crazy old lady. I say, oh, what was she like? Intense. She was apparently intense. I checked the timeline. It actually does line up. And my friend did actually go to Yale. God knows what happened to her since. But God knows what happened to me. Anyway, she might be lying, but you know why? She's not making up grand stories about them being best friends. They just knew each other the way college students know one another. Jody was intense. Or self-important, depending on how charitable a mood you're in. I wonder how that writing of hers is going. She's always wanted to be a writer. I hope that's what she's doing. I'm hoping she's writing stories that no one will ever read. The part that I can't get, and I know it's there, and I know you know what it is, and I don't know what it is. I'm just going to say, I said it, I'm going to say it again. How we got from where we were when you fucked up. Sorry. But that is what you did. And where we are now, where all the walls have collapsed and everything means anything all the time, I want to understand that. Because I know you started that. And I know there's a discernible path from there to here. And I want your help figuring it out. Because this is what I've devoted my life to. I'll give you an example. You know how I told you that in the months prior to your assassination attempt, the media was saturated with images of death and destruction? Anybody who's spent 5 minutes on the internet in the last 14 months knows the same thing is going on again, times quadruple 100, even before he won. all of the imagery was huge and monstrous and dark and scary, and all of her imagery was ordinary and drab and pantsuited and boring. So that there was a kind of inevitability about it. I really do think that. That's what the Clintonistas are telling themselves now also. There was an inevitability about it. We were caught up in the zeitgeist. I've never known, is it zeitgeist or zeitgeist? I think it's zeitgeist. And that's also what Marsha, what's her name? O.J. Simpson trial, that was another stopping point on the collapse of the boundaries between one and another. That's what she said too. The story was so much bigger than any of us. We were caught up in the zeitgeist. People who fail are always caught up in the zeitgeist. But I'm caught up in the zeitgeist, and I live in Louisiana. I cannot stand it. I have a cold. You know what? I just need to spit it out. I'm one of those guys. I'm one of those guys who could not do it. And when I got in that booth, I looked at the top. Sanders wasn't there. Went through all the local races. Voted for every Democrat I had. One Green Party candidate. Had researched all of them. Knew who I was voting for. Knew why. Went back to the top. Considered casting a vote. No, I'm lying. I never considered casting a vote for Ms. White Wine and Brie Cheese, Jill Stein, or Mr. Countries. There are other foreign countries. Johnson. I did consider that Utah guy briefly. And I considered leaving it blank. Then I voted for Donald Trump. What a meaningless gesture, huh? In Louisiana. Yeah. Well, you should be ashamed of yourself, too. I'll see myself out. Adam Duff! Here. Nothing happens here without Paul Wiley and the beginning of Stefan Brun. Sorry I smoke so much. My job really can't do without me next weekend, so if you like the show, don't tell anybody. This is it. Good night.
Make sure they don't.
Oh, yeah.
Are you coming out to see your people, or?
I was hesitant, but I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be out there.
All right, you're gonna have a smoke. Here, we wanted to see your face. Yeah, right.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Hi, Janet.
Yep, I didn't see that one either.